when I was studying in my MBA, that was a long time ago, 1983-84, and I came across with this financial management course, and I started to read the textbook. The first thing I came across, it said, the purpose of any business organization is to maximize the wealth of shareholders. 1984, and I'm a young student doing my MBA. Purpose of every and any business organization is to maximize the wealth of shareholders. How does it sound? It did not sit well in my mind. It sounded very selfish. I mean, there are few shareholders, and all the employees, all the customers, all the suppliers, everyone else is trying to maximize the wealth of shareholders. So I really had to struggle with that. Well, over the period of time, the companies were smart to change the wording and calling create shareholders value. Fact remains the same. It's really about growing money for shareholders. Even today, that's true. So it was a little crude language, maximize the wealth, fancy words, creating shareholders, and we hear a lot about shareholders value creation. Fact remains that we'll talk about the business model, that it's really the owners of the company or the shareholders who have invested their money, and other stakeholders, you can call them stakeholders, and they are there for the main purpose of creating shareholders value or maximizing their wealth. What the companies learned additionally, that creating shareholders value is not possible unless you create customers value. So that was the level of maturity in the last 25 years where the good companies have gone through. So in 80s or 70s, it was a crude model. The crude model was that if you have the capital, if you have the money, you can invest into plant and capacity. If you have the capacity, you can make a product, you can sell it. That was the business model, 60s, 70s, worked very well. So capital was the main thing, and that is why shareholders become very important. Shareholders had the capital, they brought the capital in the business, they invested, and then grow money. It became difficult after 70s and 80s, more competition and things change. And especially in the last 10, 15 years, the world has completely changed. So they understood that creating share value is not possible until you create customers value, because it is the customer stakeholders who make it possible. Without customer, you cannot grow the wealth of shareholders or create value. And to create customer value, what you need? You need products or services, number one, because that is what the customers are there. But you also need other things. You need technology, which has become very critical, very important in the last 15, 20 years. And then the most important thing, which still many companies forget, is the talented employees, talent. If you don't have the talent, you cannot use the technology. And if you cannot use the technology, you cannot make the good quality product and services. Today, in USA, 60% of the workforce is in the service industry. 60%. Used to be other way around or much lower. What does it mean? 60% people only working in the service sector, what do? They're not the production workers. They are knowledge workers. Knowledge worker means in service industry, you have to use your mind. All of us are knowledge workers. We don't have a given dictated task. We don't start with the process. We have to think wisely, what is best for me to deliver for my responsibility. We are knowledge worker, and there are more and more knowledge worker. Now, the new science about this human behavior is that talented employees are those employees who are autonomous, who make decisions for themselves. So you have a choice as a management. You can tighten their boundaries, come at this time, punch the clock time, because I'm watching you. If you make a late, I'm watching you. And you cannot leave before 5:30, I'm watching you, right? Okay, you watch their time, you capture their time. How do you capture their mind? What are they doing? So good company understood that they cannot really play the same scientific management game with the knowledge worker. In fact, to improve the productivity of the knowledge worker, they have to give more flexibility like this. So when they give flexibility to the knowledge worker, they behave with more responsibility. Just a repetition, create shareholder value, very clear, through creating customer value. And how do you create customer value? Two focus, very clear. Create high quality product and services, because this is all what customer want. And again, I would just refer back to the Amazon experience. It's not only about books I'm buying, it's my experience. So those companies have made the definition of service and product is not only the core product or service you are buying, it's your whole experience. What do you think about the company? How do you experience it from the buying until the book is delivered, even afterwards, after sales warranties and those type of services. So high quality product and services, customer value, and sell those products at a price to result in profit, because that's how you would create shareholder value. So it's not only about making customer happy and delighted and having a loss in the company. The artistic performance of this company is that they are able to create very compelling product and services, highly satisfactory, and still sell at a price where the customer happily buy and they create value for the shareholder. That's the financial model start here. So it's hands in hands. You cannot separate the financial management of the company from the business. It's fully integrated. And again, integration is that while you are creating those quality and services to make your customer happy, you ensure that there is enough price to have a good margin and make money and create value for the shareholders. Now this topic is not, as I said before, this is not only for the capital investment evaluation. When normally, if you refer to any book, accounting book, finance book, or any expert, they would always say investment evaluation means capital investment evaluation. My concept or the new logic is it's not only capital. Everywhere, every day you make investment decisions because you're using someone's money. So that long-term fixed investment, not only capital investment, also involves working capital and the daily expenditure you make. The focus here is to understand the cost of money and the riskiness, two concepts. What is the cost of money you are using and what is the risk involved when you make? Because when you make a decision, investment decision, short term or long term, you are either making an emotional decision or a rational decision. That's very important. This is, people say, some experts say, all the time we are making emotional decisions. We think that we make rational decision, but we make all the time emotional decision, especially when it comes to the buying decisions. Now you buy a lot of things for your personal use. So you are an individual consumer. When you are a business, you are doing the same buying decision at a larger scale for the business. There is high probability that you are making emotional decisions. Maybe you like the vendor was a good salesman, the vendor was very aggressive to manipulate you, something. There is high probability that you might running into. If you have an analogy, what is income statement? Income statement is like flow of events. Events are happening, buying, selling, and other transactions. And what you do, income statement, you basically capture for a certain period of time, that becomes income statement. And when you take a snapshot of your resources, that's your balance sheet. So if I stop the movie and look at only this frame, that frame is my balance sheet. I restart the movie and that my activities start income statement. That's what balance sheet income statement is. Clear? So it's a snapshot. You can take a snapshot anytime. Anytime you can check your inventory. Anytime you can check your fixed assets and cash flow. Take another analogy. My balance sheet is, if in the world of sports, if I look at an athlete, a snapshot, what I know? Age. What I can know is age, sex, height, weight, body mass index. What do I know? What do you know about this athlete? Not much, but you are looking at a snapshot and you know some very critical information. A specific period, stand still. You have not seen the activities. You are only looking at this athlete and you think, yeah, it looks strong enough. He probably do a good fight, I think, based on what I'm seeing. But you have actually not seen any fight. Same with the company balance sheet. When you look only at the balance sheet of the company, what you look at? You look at the cash of the company. If there is cash, you will say, yeah, this company looks strong. You look at the inventory. You look at the plant and equipment. You look at their debt equity ratio. You look at the capital. You look at all those snapshots and you can make a guess. Maybe this company is strong, maybe weak, but I really have not seen how much profit they have made, right? When you see a performance of an athlete, and blood pressure, EKG, when you see an actual performance of an athlete, then you come to know suddenly about, oh, now I see the speed and stamina, which was not available here. Now I see the skill and the performance because I'm seeing a fight now. And now I see the strength and the force this athlete has. Now you have a complete picture. Ability to generate more cash. In the business organization, ability to generate cash, you cannot make a judgment simply by looking at one statement. You look at the fight and you make some judgment, but you also know the statics number. So that's an analogy in the balance sheet versus income statement. And of course, historical performance. How many fights this athlete has won in the past? The investment decision, they think it's only related to when you are dealing with a capital investment decision, which involves millions of dollars and it requires investment in fixed assets or equipment or building plant or equipment and facilities. Actually, every day we make business decision or investment decision, whether it's related to, you saw the balance sheet. So the balance sheet, only one part is related to the fixed assets. There is a big portion related to working capital. And every day we make decisions about the working capital. How much to sell to the customer, what credit terms to offer, how much to buy the inventory, what to get from the vendors. These are all working capital decisions or investment decisions, because you are using shareholders' money and shareholders are expecting some returns on their money. The reason shareholders have come to the businesses with their money, they want to have good returns. Otherwise, they would go to the banks and deposit the money and get some fixed return, which is guaranteed. It's low, but it's guaranteed. So investors decided to come to this option of investing into the business, take some risks, but get a higher return. And it is our responsibility as business manager to ensure that the money we are spending on behalf of the investors achieves good return. It's even beyond working capital. Every day we spend money, expenses, and every spend, large or small, we are spending, we need to ensure that ultimately it would achieve some good return, good benefit, more than the cost of the money we have.
It was a good presentation, and I like very much the way of Salim bringing from macroeconomic levels, talking about global crisis and the global markets, down to the level of microeconomics on a company.
First of all, I want to thank Salim for his initiative of conducting this workshop. I found it very informative and educational, in addition to being practical in converting the concepts thought and explained by bringing real-life examples and cases.
First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Salim Soufi. The presentation of the finance for non-financial executives or managers which he has presented. And also what I admired is really the global analysis and the benchmarks which has been presented. And what makes real success of this presentation really was the simple language and the practical examples which has been presented. And I believe this was based of the long experience and the exposure of different cultures of Mr. Salim. I really thank him.
Yeah, for me today it was a very interesting meeting. I was, I have to say, surprised about the training and all the information which we have gathered. For me, as an executive manager for an IT, I'm not really focused on finance issues, but more on technical issues. But I think it is a more advantage to use the information which we currently have got.
First of all, I need to thank Mr. Salim very much for the very excellent and very, very comprehensive and informative sessions over the last 2 days. Also, I need to thank the management to give us such kind of informative sessions. Overall, the sessions are very informative, are excellent information anyone who will attend will have. At the same time, it gives all the business managers attended the same a clear best practice and how the accounting standards to run the business. Also, it's allowing us to understand better and better of measures and best practice around the benchmarking and other companies, how they are doing business and running the business.
I think that it has been absolutely fantastic for 2 days. There were many areas that were covered, but the areas that were covered in detail. There was a lot of interaction between everybody involved, sitting around the table, as well as with Salim himself. I must compliment him on the thorough work that he did in preparing his presentation, putting all of the information together, and how well it came across. Everything was clearly explained, and it was of great benefit to all of those in the room.